Hello everyone and welcome back to Trifecta, where the pillagers are still harassing us here. They've still yet to get us though. I am proud to report we are still on 0 deaths. So yeah, in the last episode we done a lot of building here, building McDonald's. We need a better name for this thing. But yeah, today we have one very simple objective. By the end of the episode, I want to have fully automated hamburgers appear on this depot right here. And that should solve the food issue that we have. I mean, it's not really an issue. It's easy enough to get a stack of steak every few days. But it's about having fun setting this up, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun setting this up. There is quite a number of steps we have to go through to get the hamburger fully automated here. But the reward is a lot of saturation per food item, and a use for this building that we put together. To get anywhere today though, we're going to have to get some resources. I did go mining last episode, but we have 7 iron nuggets to our name, and that quite obviously is not going to do. So, as you might have guessed, we're going to use this tunnel bore once again. It served us very well. Yeah, I'm going to spend a few hours down here at... Oh, nice, some copper. A few hours down here at least to get us kickstarted for today. You know, even though we have the tunnel bore, I might end up caving because... I mean, who doesn't like caving, right? So yeah, I spent the next few hours gathering what I hoped would be enough resources for our little hamburger project today. Alright, so we're just doing some preparation here. I think you guys are going to love this. I've been doing some prototyping in a creative world. And you know, when you're doing prototypes in creative, whether it's redstone or building, in fact that was the case for McDonald's up there, it got a bit out of hand in creative last episode, because you have access to all the items, but here, not so much. Here we'll have to craft some things I was not expecting to have to invest in this early. So the first thing we'll have to look at crafting is the mechanical arm. So to craft the arm and many of the other things we have planned for today, we're going to have to get some kelp. Fortunately, out there is way more than we know what to do with, and this is right on our backyard right here, which is pretty fortunate. I thought we would have to go further, but this allows us to delay the automation of kelp a little bit further into the future. So once we dry off the kelp, we can craft mechanical belts, and we'll be using the belts all over the place. They are super versatile, very easy way of item transportation. So coming back to the mechanical arm, we have the andesite, we can make brass. We do not have precision mechanisms though. And to make this, we're going to have to set up a little recipe sequence with 3 deployers. Alright, so step 1 here is to set up another water wheel. And I just recently saw that they're giving us more flexibility with the water wheels in the next create update. And a lot of you guys were asking if we were going to update. Yes, our plan is to update as soon as we possibly can. The update right now is only available on Forge and we are on Fabric. Hey, so this is Future 3 coming at you from almost the end of the episode. This video ended up over an hour and I want to try and trim it in length since I have to show you this final product. We're still quite a ways away, but we will get there this episode. But yeah, from here let's try speed things up a little bit. So from here we hooked up the first mechanical belt, 3 deployers and 2 chests, and then funnels for the input and output, and this allows us to make our recipe sequence. We just have to feed it the input items for the recipe via the hoppers into the deployer. And second time round, since it is a percentage chance, we were able to make our precision mechanisms. I know this is going to feel pretty fast, but don't worry, we're going to circle back to the explanation for all these devices later on. It's going to make sense, trust me. Alright, so at least up to the stage that I've planned for, at this point, we are going to need a minimum of 2 of these things only. And there is the second one. But we have a whole list of other materials we're going to have to craft for our McDonald's up there. Including, but not limited to, 5 encased fans, around 16 gearboxes, 2 mixers, 2 basins, a windmill, a handful of depots, some belt and shafts. Also, we'll make sure we use the efficient recipe for shafts. If you send andesite alloy through a saw like this, you get an extra 4. And we'll use the efficient mixer recipe for andesite alloy, 2 brass funnels, and 1 brass tunnel, and then using the precision mechanism, 1 mechanical arm, and 1 rotational speed controller. Alright, so now that we have all the materials accounted for, I hope. As always when I'm working with automation, I do find it very helpful to work backwards. So we start with the hamburgers here and we go back in the chain. So what I'm thinking right now is the assembly process is going to be in here. Yeah, so let me make some changes here to this room in preparation for the next step. Awesome, so we got some changes in this place. I believe we're ready to start to set up this production line. As you can see here, we have the counter style that I talked about in the previous episode. I made a few partition walls, nothing through here just yet, probably going to be some storage. Through to this back section, we have, of course, the 2 towers that we built. The first one has some slabs we can climb up to the top. And the second one we're going to come back to. We have a small basement area underneath, which we're going to make full use of. And then up top here is where the production line is going to be. This mixer here is the final assembly. 5 ingredients to make hamburgers, so we have 5 different input belts here. Oh, this is going to be so cool when it's set up. Okay, so obviously we have to generate rotational force here, right? And we don't really want to use the water wheels, it's not really appropriate up there. So you might have guessed already by the fact that we crafted a windmill. We are going to use the power of the wind to generate rotational power. So I was shearing the sheep. We've got some white wool here, spare. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff I forgot to craft, actually. But fortunately, this isn't GT&H. Things don't take like 10 hours to craft one machine. So to get the windmill to work, we're going to have to make sails. Maybe not a stack, or 2 stacks this would be. Let's start with around a stack to begin. Yeah, let's go for a stack to begin with. And make sure we grab the goggles as well, the engineer's goggles. So the plan originally was to try cram everything into this build here. But honestly, when you start to... Now that we've got some interior in here, it's not as big as it might have first looked. Although, to be fair, we're not really utilising the second floor up here. But still, what we're about to do here is just temporary. In fact, we might fix it today, I'm not entirely sure, but we are going to put the windmill on this tower. So we've got the windmill bearing. I don't know if it matters which way it spins. It's probably all in the same. That's going to go into some walnut azalea. This can be any block of your choosing, I believe. And we'll have to super glue this to the controller block. And now we can add on our sails. Yeah, the amount of sail blocks determine the rotation speed. Use a wrench to configure its rotation direction. So yeah, basically the more sails we add, the faster it's going to spin. I don't think it matters where we place them as long as they're all connected together. Although this looks a bit of a mess right now. Okay, that's certainly a little nicer, even though it's out of proportion. This is certainly not the right place to put a windmill. However, we should be able to just right-click it to get it started. We get our advancement, a mild breeze. You can see here by the rotation, this is pretty slow. The windmills inherently are just slow on their own. I believe even slower than the base water mill without adding any of the cogs to speed it up. However, the benefit to using the windmill, as you can see, we have 2,560 stress units being generated, whereas the water wheel is only 320. So the more stress units we have, the more items and machines we can connect to this windmill without it being overstressed. Okay, so we'll extend the rotation downwards, and this will go into our rotation speed controller. So what this allows us to do is exactly control how fast we want things spinning. And we still get access to those 2,500 stress units. So we'll do a vertical gearbox into shaft, into rotation speed controller. Yeah, so now this one is the input side, and this one is the output side. So yeah, as you can see here, we can go up to the maximum, which is 256. At this point though, I'm not sure we can support 256 with the amount of things we have to connect. I guess we're not really going to know until we try, right? So yeah, we have these belts, we have to power every single one. But we should be able to send power to one and it will power them all, because the shaft goes all the way through. As you can see here, it does connect on the belts. So on belt placement, there's always a shaft at the beginning and the end of the belt. You can, however, add shafts in the middle if you like, just by clicking with an extra shaft, and you can take them out with the wrench. Yeah, you can also split the belt like that and join it with a mechanical belt. But yeah, you can see here the shaft is on the beginning and the end of the belt on each side, and that goes all the way through. So we should be able to just send the rotation up here somewhere. Let's get a few vertical gearboxes. Vertical here into shaft. And then we just have to connect it to the windmill bearing over here. So one more vertical, shaft, gearbox, shaft. Hopefully this is going the right way. I think it is, right? We want the belts going into the funnel. So yeah, they are going the correct direction. Perfect. Okay, let's disconnect this for a second. Okay, so if we're looking at the belts this way, in order, if we take a look at the hamburger recipe, we're going to do cabbage, then beef patty, then bread, and then tomato and onion don't need any further processing, so those two are going to go on these ones here. Okay, so this one here with the mixer is going to be cabbage. Let's come back to that one. Let's do the bread, which is this line, and the beef patty, which is this line. So if we look at the recipes for bread, there is two different options. Yeah, funny enough, there's two items called dough. One is from Farmer's Delight and one is from Create. We are going to use the Create one. So to turn dough into bread, we have to bulk smoke it, which is fire through an encased fan. To get the regular dough, we have to bulk wash, which is water through an encased fan. And then wheat flour is a crushing wheel or a milling step. And this comes from regular wheat, which we're going to hook up to a farm somewhere. Yeah, we are yet to figure out the farm, as that is something we'll look at later on. Alright, so I went ahead and made another rotation speed controller, and this will be used to power the encased fans for bulk washing and then bulk smoking on this side. One of the comments you guys left is that it doesn't matter the rotation speed of the fan when you're doing bulk smelting or bulk washing. So to save on stress units, we're going to send this rotation speed controller down to the minimum, i.e. 1. So this takes the input from down here from the windmill and outputs here at 1 RPM. And then two vertical gearboxes should spin some encased chain drives. These chain drives just allow you to carry the rotation horizontally or vertically. One more gearbox on the other side. Hopefully this should spin the right way. We want the fans blowing up onto the belt. And I did test this, you can actually blow through a belt from the bottom side. So we're going to do something a bit sneaky here and set these on fire, because we have fire tick off. That is a bit of a sneaky move, I will admit. For this one, we have to get water above it, so we're going to waterlog a leaf block. And after a bit of extra configuration, we have now a millstone in here, and we have the filter set, for the most part, except for the beef patty, which we still have to look at. So yeah, what is going to happen is we have the wheat coming in here, that's going to get milled, and then we have a filter on the tunnel here, which only allows the washed dough to go through, so the second stage of dough. Oh, there's also seeds here. I didn't think about that. Wait, that's not from the washing, that is from... Oh, that must be from the milling step. We have a 25% chance of seeds. Okay, this mill is going to have to be moved elsewhere. But yeah, on the second stage, after it gets put into dough, it goes here and gets cooked by the fire below. And then we have another filter here for bread, which allows that into the barrel. The barrel is just a buffer for all of our ingredients, and that is then going to be sent outwards into some depots here. The grass shouldn't be on there. And then it's going to be sent into the mixer, and then from the mixer onto the depot. But for that, we have a little bit of extra configuration work to do. And somehow I'm going to figure out this millstone here. So now that we have a basic understanding of most of the final assembly process, it was time to start thinking about how we're going to farm these crops. And here in Trifecta, aesthetics are very important. Don't mind the lawn base that we have right now. So taking that into consideration, the best approach here I think is going to be another build, and that also means a lot more wood. You guys also pointed out in the comments section that the azaleas don't grow without bone meal. However, fortunately for us, Lashmac was kind enough to give us almost 2 stacks of bone blocks. Hello Lash.
Hello.
Over a stack, almost 2 stacks of bone blocks. This is basically the reason I need the bone meal, is to bone meal these azaleas, because Well, I had some
Yeah,
comments.
they don't grow.
Yeah, reminding me that azaleas don't grow on their own. You have to bone meal them.
No, they're meant to be for decoration, so you need bone meal every single time.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I appreciate this almost 2 stacks that you gave us. That was very generous. Yeah, with the bone meal we got, we were able to very easily farm the wood for this build, and most of the other building blocks we already had a decent stock of. At this point, it was just a matter of coming up with a concept, a placement, and then actually building this thing. Oh yeah, I'm starting to get excited about this build now, and I'm going to invite you guys to ignore the fact that it's floating. However, I went ahead and climbed up the old, where the old windmill was, and tore down all of the sails, and we have it rebuilt on this new one here. We are currently at the top of the tower. It's just about nighttime, but let's test this out. I did make sure to super glue everything, so hopefully this windmill spins and doesn't take the whole windmill with it. The whole building, that is. So yeah, we should just be able to right click the bearing. And is it going? I think it is, right? We put the full 64 sails on it, so we're getting 4,096 stress units, which is just about double, I think, to the old windmill. So this should be enough to power this building, and also the building next door. And there's a creeper on our roof. I should probably get around to lighting that up. Yeah, we missed a few lights in here. But yeah, we still have a long ways to go this episode. I have been grinding. It's been like, I don't know, maybe 7 hours since the last cut. It takes me a while. Oh, and I just seen out the corner of my eye, look at this. The contraption is moving down there. So there's basically 2 reasons I wanted to build this windmill. The first is obviously for the windmill functionality to give us the stress units, and so it wasn't cramped over there in the original build. And the second is so that we can hide a crop farm in here. So down on the bottom floor, actually this is I guess floor 1, there's a floor below us. Let's not take damage from our own farm. Yeah, so down here we have what is going to be a crop farm. And this will be for, let's not stand here. Yeah, this will be for the cabbage, for the bread, i.e. wheat, for tomatoes, and for the onions. It's not huge, the farm isn't massive, but I think it's going to be more than enough for our needs anyway. Yeah, this is super cool. We got some outdoor areas here. There's a balcony above us as well. Yeah, this is so awesome. I'm loving this build. Okay, so what is the plan from here? I plan to do another large cut segment because I have got a lot of grinding to do. You'll see in a second. But basically from the windmill, we have a shaft which goes all the way down. This is exactly the same concept as we looked at the beginning of the episode. We're just sending the rotation from the windmill controller down to here, the gearbox. So we have to power this mechanical bearing. This is a new block we haven't looked at before, but yeah, it works exactly the way you would imagine. It's just a mechanical bearing. It spins on its axis. We have some linear chassis. We have some harvesters, which we're going to jump the rope. We have a portable storage interface in there and a barrel, and that connects down to the bottom. But the rotation goes through the wall here, and it actually goes outside, since we have to power this mechanical bearing. And I want to also send the rotation into that building there. So it goes out here, and then goes down the wall, down the side of the windmill, and then also goes back inside here, and powers the mechanical bearing from underneath. And here is where we're going to sort things out, and this is where we're going to move the millstone. Yeah, if you'll recall, we were getting the seeds byproduct when we crushed wheat into dough, or flour. We are going to sort that all out here, so we'll have to set up some brass funnels and filters. And then the idea is it's going to go another story down, which is currently not built. There is nothing under here. In fact, it's quite a mess under here. Yeah, everything from that log down, I invite you to ignore. I'll probably have it finished up by the end of the episode. But yeah, everything above this, around here, is awesome. I'm loving this. Yeah, that's the little balcony there. We got a flag on top. And I forgot to remove that block up there, but yeah, orange and blue, same as the channel, same as the Penrose. So yeah, now what I'm about to do is, first of all, put an entrance on this place, because the only way to get in right now is through this dirt, this hole in the wall. Set up all of the filtering, and then it's all going to be transported on belts down here. I have a little tunnel dug out. And this goes straight up into our working area in McDonald's. We have a little 3x3 cutout. So this is where all the crops are going to end up. And they're going to join the start of the processing line here. So yeah, there is still a lot of work to do on this project. Oh my goodness, that windmill looks awesome from a distance. Wait, did I misplace a sail? Did I add an extra one? I think it's not symmetrical, right? That's not supposed to be there, that one there. But yeah, this horse here that we have, who was unnamed previously, but you guys had some amazing suggestions the last episode. Unfortunately, we don't have a name tag, but he does now have a name. Yeah, if we had one, it would be in this chest. We don't have a name tag, unfortunately. This horse shall henceforth be known as Threefold. As in, foal, a baby horse. I mean, he's not really so baby anymore, and he also has armor, courtesy of Lashmac. We're in so much debt to the Lord of Darkness, but yeah. But yeah, I was so tempted to call this guy Greg. That was a close second, but I can't do that. We can't call this guy Greg. Threefold is a very fitting name. And I'm going to take a break from building right now, as for one of the ingredients for the hamburger, the only one we do not have at this current moment is the tomato. So according to the wiki at least, you can find tomatoes on beaches, I think, if I remember reading correctly, but yeah, it's on the shoreline, similar to the location we found the cabbage, I'm pretty sure. Oh, hello, pillagers. Still haven't died, by the way. Yeah, we're going to pick a random direction. I don't think we've been too far this way. This is, by the way, where Lash lives. Our base is just out of render distance there, and he is, I believe, just over this hill. Yeah, his base is just coming into view here. There's potentially some spoilers, so I'm not going to go that way. Anyways, for now, the quest to find Tomato. He doesn't see us. Or potentially hear us. What is he doing down there? He's practicing his combat skills. Swinging at the air. He must be talking to camera right now. This is a behind the scenes of Extra Cool Cat. Nice, we're gonna leave him alone. We'll leave him alone. Guys, I have been at this for so long by now, but here it stands, proud and tall in the distance, in our valley, in the mountains. I fixed all the asymmetries, it's now no longer floating, although it could do with a little bit of touch up near the bottom. However, I'm proud to report that this thing is finally finished, so let me take you guys through the process of making a hamburger in this in this crazy build right here. So yeah, as you can see, I did tidy up a lot of the exterior, although the plan, I think I want to have all of this paved, and we'll have like a main road section which cuts through the middle of these two buildings, and then maybe up to the side of the mountain we'll have like a mountainside path, and then perhaps take all this terrain back and have a retaining wall is my current plans for this particular section of the mountain. But anyway, all of that is for the future. Let me show you around real quick. We'll start from the top of the tower. I did manage to finish all this up. I got all the dirt removed. I implemented some ladders, some lights. Here is just an area to carry the rotational power. And it goes up one more level up here. And this is where our bed sits right now. We get an amazing view outside here. I can't wait until there's more buildings. We can see if our windmill is functioning, which of course it is. But now coming back down to the farm down here, I also managed to finish up the farm. Don't mind the fact that it's spinning the wrong way, that is intentional right now. I added a little staircase. Yeah, I wanted to let all the crops grow for the most part so we can test this together. Although, spoiler, it does work. Unless I moved one of the gearboxes the wrong way, then it should work. But yeah, let me show you down inside. Of course, we have our entrance. I decided to add a little staircase on the side of the windmill. And then we have our main entrance in here. And this is where all of the sorting happens. Believe it or not, this is the 4th iteration of this particular setup. probably more than 4, but it was a complete mess before. So I tore it out and rebuilt it multiple times. It's just kind of the nature of Create. Sometimes you're going to deal with a bit of spaghetti, but I tried to make it as straight and, yeah, as straight as possible, pretty much. So the short version of this is we're taking the rotation from the windmill, as we were before, and then we have 2 rotational speed controllers. This one here controls all of these machines and everything next door as well. Currently on 16, although I think we can go like all the way up to like 80. And that should get maybe even 96. Yeah, let's keep it on 96 for a while. And this one is down at 1. This operates the windmill bearing at the farm. So if we change this to -1, it's going to spin it in the opposite direction, i.e. the right way for the harvesters to harvest all the crops. Before we do that though, I moved the storage interface to the back of the room here. That's going to collect the items from the chute. And then we have a brass filter, a brass tunnel, with some filters on. So the wheat goes to the left hand side here and goes into some millstones. I moved the millstones here. We also get the seed byproduct out of that as well, which we're taking care of below. And then all of the seeds, including rotten tomatoes, which occasionally you could get. This blocked up for a while. But from the tomato seeds, you can occasionally get rotten ones, which I think you can actually throw at each other. So I might, we might have to set up a little mini game with rotten tomatoes. That would be funny. But yeah, all of the seeds were just composting. So the rotten tomatoes, the tomato seeds, and the cabbage seeds, and the wheat seeds we're sending through this filter, and that goes into some composters down here. So what about the bottom section? Well, the only way in right now is via the back side of the windmill, although there's technically not a back roof. I guess this is the back, right? We have this little entrance back here. And so this is underneath the millstones. We have a brass tunnel once again, filtering the seeds to the left and the flour to the right. The seeds are just packed into these 2 chests as a buffer. And the flour continues onto this depot, into this belt, where it joins the rest of the items, i.e. the tomato, the onion, and the cabbage. Yeah, the cabbage leaves here. And then this side of the room is underneath the composters, and this just composts into bone meal, of course. And we get a slow and steady supply of bone meal this way. Okay, so now, before we follow this sequence any further, this goes through into McDonald's. Let's switch the direction of the rotation to -1. And we should hear the harvester up there. Yeah, we can hear it. It's going to start to harvest all the crops. And again, it doesn't need to be particularly fast. The rotation speed, that is, because, I mean, these take some time to grow. But yeah, as you can see here, it's harvesting all the crops. Once it gets to here, the portable storage interface is going to connect. Let's go back down and see the filtering process. Since we should catch it all in the belt, right? Okay, we should start to see... Yes, yes, look at this. Our ingredients. After they've been filtered, we can hear the composters going, so that is the seeds. We're going to start to see some more bone meal in here. And then the extra seeds, we could have sent over to these composters to be composted some more, but having some extra seeds maybe isn't such a bad thing. I don't know, in reality we'll probably end up just trashing those. But yeah, let's follow the main, the main belt through here, so we have a little tunnel. I managed to clean all this up. Nothing fancy, but it doesn't need to be. This is just to carry ingredients down here. And then we have some new functionality, actually. So I just recently learned that you can send items through chutes if you send encased fans, if you blow an encased fan through it. So the belt sends the item via this brass funnel, which allows it into the chute. And then the fan is blowing upwards, the air upwards, and that goes all the way through the chute, and it's able to send items straight up. It's like a bubble column, pretty much. And then the items go all the way to the top, including the rotational power. We're basically taking it from the belt rotation. We have an extra gearbox and then just some shafts. And that is how we get the rotation in this building. We are no longer taking it from this back corner here anymore. I was going to cut all of that section out of the episode, and in fact I did trim it up quite a bit. There's Lash asking if the burgers are ready. We're going to show him what's up here. He's actually really curious. So yeah, all of these fans up here for the bulk smoking and bulk washing is exactly the same. Except we're taking the power source from this side of the room instead of this side. So the rotation goes up here, and then it goes on to some more belts. And then we again take from the belts down here somewhere. Yeah, right there is the vertical gearbox, and then that goes to the fans below, down here. Okay, so now for the exciting part. This is the final assembly process. Alright, so this is the belt here which connects to the chute, which is being sent up by the encased fans, and then we buffer into a barrel. And the reason we're doing this, we're buffering into the barrel first, is basically for overflow prevention. So one of the extra functionalities that you can get from the funnels is you can set this to specifically only allow a minimum of 64 items. Because I was thinking, what happens if we overproduce tomatoes, for example, and we have way too many tomatoes back up in this barrel? If this ends up full, right, and then it fills onto the belt, it backs all the way up past the brass tunnel and here, but then we don't have enough wheat or, I don't know, cabbage, for example, to finish the hamburger, then none of it's going to end up coming through here, right? So we have an extra tunnel on the end here, and all of these are set to nearest first. Here, prefer nearest. And we've also filtered the output. So we're doing like a first sort here and then a second sort here. This block here is just because we don't have the hamburgers yet or the raw beef. The raw beef is the only thing we do not have automated yet. But it's too much for one episode. I've got an idea though as well for the raw beef, but we'll get onto that in future episodes. So yeah, if we overproduce tomatoes and it ends up backed up on the belt, then any excess should end up here and it's going to go to the depot. Underneath the depot is a chute, and for now it goes into a barrel, but I'm going to switch this out for lava or a fire. I just wanted this to be here for testing purposes, just to make sure that actually does work. And maybe you guys can give me some input on this, but if we leave this unfiltered, because this is the furthest away, it's going to prefer these outputs, right, from this input. Am I reading this correctly? So in other words, it's going to prioritize the tomatoes to go here, rather than here first, because this one is closer to the input. But then, yeah, all of this we've seen before. And the final thing, the cabbage, I didn't explain this before. For the hamburger, you can use cabbage or cabbage leaf. The cabbage is what we get from the crops. And if you send cabbage through a mixer, you can turn it into 2 leaves. So you basically get double your crop output. So I thought that was worthwhile, just adding an extra mixer here. And then, yeah, the rest we've seen before. And we're basically at this stage here, right, where we have the depots, all 5 of our ingredients, besides the beef. So this is one thing I overlooked. We're going to move this off-site, similar to the way we filtered out the seeds. We have to take raw beef from Vanilla Minecraft and cut it with a knife. The knife has durability, so we have to take that into account in our automations. And this thing has no internal inventory, so it's going to be more complex and take up more space than I originally thought. So yeah, we have to do that elsewhere. So I guess that's going to be in the cow farming building, wherever that may be. Anyways, for now we can set the filter here. Yeah, and of course the cooked version on the opposite side. Okay, so now we have all 5 ingredients here. And so now this is where the mechanical arm comes into play that we crafted at the beginning of the episode. So I've added some extra cogwheels here to get this also needs rotational force. So what we can do is shift right click. The blue is an input, so take items from these depots and send them into this basin, which is orange. This is going to go on the ceiling here. And check this out. This is one of my favorite things in Crate. This is so awesome. And I think the basin is smart enough to not oversend one item or another. This might be our first hamburger. Yes, look at this. We got the first hamburger. Okay, let's set a recipe filter here. So now, how are we going to send these hamburgers over to the counter here? Which has received a little extra decoration, as you can see. We got another gift from Lash. Well, the lame way would be with a belt, right? If we belt it over, maybe across the ceiling or something like that. However, the better way is with something called the weighted ejector. And this thing acts like a springboard, almost. So let's climb up to the second floor here. And we have to set the output side, which is going to be this chute. Unfortunately, it's a little off to the left, but you can place chutes diagonally. So I think what we have to do is similar to the mechanical arm, shift right click. Yeah, and this selects the target. And then, so long as we're on this same block, we can follow this all the way along, and it should be in place right next to the basin. So we'll place it right here. It's also getting rotational power from the gearboxes down there as well. And the basin should automatically output the output of the recipe, in this case hamburger, onto the weighted ejector, and you can kind of see what it's doing here. It's so fast though. Wait, maybe we can see from... Oh yeah, we saw it! Yes, look at this. Here comes the hamburgers. There it is. How awesome is that? How awesome is that? And then, yeah, it goes down the chute. We have a buffer barrel here, into a hopper, into the depot, and we have mission accomplished. Words cannot describe how satisfying this is right now. Yeah, so obviously we still have the beef to figure out. That is the only thing not automated. And it's not really been too long and we're already building up some cabbage and whatnot. So yeah, I think the farm is going to be fast enough, as small as it is. Potentially what we might do is build industrial scale farms elsewhere, like a couple of 100 blocks away, and we transport all the stock using a train. And then maybe we set up like our own train station somewhere across the water there. Or I'm not exactly sure on the location yet, but yeah, maybe we can train in large amounts of crops. The fact that we have trains here is too good of an opportunity to pass up, right? We're definitely going to be messing with the trains. But yeah, at least for the hamburgers specifically, I'm hoping we have enough stock to basically keep us fed the whole time that we're online. But yeah, with that, I think we're going to wrap up the episode right here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one. I certainly did. Wait, hold up. Hold on a second. This isn't complete without a sign. We got our hanging mangrove sign here with the burger. And this is going to be called McFolds. That is the perfect name. Alright, anyways, that is going to be us for this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. And I'll see you all in the next episode of Trifecta.